Hi, I'm Danny with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at and I'm going to show you how to install the Pacbrake Alpha airbag suspension kit on our 2025 GMC Sierra 3500. If you're somebody who's using your truck to tow some campers or you're having a lot of load in your bed, then adding some airbag suspension is going to be a great idea. It's going to help you level out your load, and what that means is you're going to have all four tires firmly planted on the ground, which will help with drivability and braking, which is really important when you have a big heavy trailer behind you. Not only will these help with safety and comfort, but they'll actually prolong the life of your suspension components because there's not going to be uneven wear, as well as your tires. So these are going to be a really good investment. Here's what the bags look like installed on your truck. Now, as you can see, these are really durable, and these are going to provide 5,000 pounds of support for your load. Now, do always check your owner's manual for your payload capacity and make sure you're hauling what your truck can handle. Speaking of durable, these bags have wires inside, so it's going to keep its shape and strength. So you're not going to have to worry about these wearing down over time. Now, this Pacbrake is one of the first I've installed because they're so new, and I've installed a lot of different airbags, and I really like these. I really like the quality of all the components here. As you can see, these brackets have a nice, almost hammered metal look, and this is going to create water resistance as well as corrosion resistance. So overall, these are really nice. As you can see, the factory down bumper is a lot smaller than our airbags here, so these are only going to work once you're already bottomed out with weight. These bags are rated to go from 5 to 100 psi. Now, when you're not having anything loaded in your bed or a trailer, you do want to keep these at that 5 psi so you don't damage them and they last you a long time. Now, earlier I went ahead and measured from the ground to the top of the wheel well and got our factory ride height without anything in the bed or hooked up to it. Now, we hooked up a trailer and it's got 750 pounds of tongue weight pushing down, and it did lower it, and I can tell you here that it lowered it by about an inch. So without our airbags installed, the back end sagging and the front end is lifting up. Like I said, those aren't firmly planted, so it's going to affect drivability. Now we'll go ahead and take this for a spin and see how it does. Now we'll go ahead and take this over our bump course, see how it handles. Take a couple of turns. I can definitely tell there's some weight back there. Now take a couple of quick turns. Now we are just in a parking lot, so we're not going too fast, but if you do get up to highway speeds, your trailer is prone to porpoising, so getting those airbags will help a lot with that as well. Now with our airbags installed, I'll fill them with air to reach near factory ride height. I'll make sure I'll fill both of them at the same level. And with air in those bags, we'll take this for a spin again and see the difference. And we're going over that same bump course, see how that weight back there handles. Tell it's a lot stiffer of a ride, which is good when you're having a trailer. Overall, I really like these airbags. I can definitely tell a difference in drivability. And again, I'm not going that fast in this parking lot. Now, if you have any further questions about what airbags are going to be good for you and your truck, then please feel free to reach out to us at eTrailer. Now, as far as the installation goes, I already kind of alluded to this was my first time doing a Pacbrake, and I really enjoyed the installation. I thought it was a lot really easy and pretty intuitive. So anyone can do it at home in a matter of a couple of hours. But if that's not something you're wanting to do, then you can check out our dealer locator and find a professional in your area to get these installed for you. But if you're looking to do it yourself, follow along and I'll walk you through it. First off, I went ahead and already removed our spare tires to have some more room up here. Now we can remove our heat shield, and I got a 13mm socket. There's just going to be 2 bolts. And I'll just go ahead and set this to the side for now, and we'll put this back on later. We'll get our factory jounce bumpers removed out of these cups, and I'm just going to get a flathead and pry this out. Now, if this is difficult, you can put one in the hole in the bottom. I'll go ahead and set these to the side. And I took the passenger side down as well, and whatever we do to one side of the vehicle, we are going to be doing to the other. Now on either side, there's going to be a bracket securing your brake lines to your plate here. So I'm going to get a 13mm socket and remove the bolt. Just get those out of the way real quick. Now we can set up our bag with all of our brackets. Now on one side there's going to be 3 holes, on the other side there's just going to be 2. So I'm going to start with this side with 3 and get our roll plate on top. I'm going to line up those 2 holes with that, and the bigger hole is going to go on that third one. Now I'll take our top bracket, set that on top. Make sure to line up all the holes. I'll take our smaller countersunk bolts and get these started by hand. And these are going to be a 7/32 Allen head. So I'll tighten and torque these down. Now these aren't very high, so I'm just going to snug them up. Make sure it's centered. It can come either way. And do make sure you're going to be torquing these down to the specs in your instructions. And if you don't have a torque wrench at home, you can usually rent one from your local auto parts store, or you can pick one up from us at etrailer. I'll flip our bag over and put our bottom bracket on. Now there are going to be 4 holes. Now depending on the side, you're going to be using these 2 or these 2. We have the driver's side, so we are going to be using these. And you do want to make sure that flat side is going to be aligned with the bent part of your bracket. So it's going to sit like this. Now I'll flip this around and get this installed, but before I do, you want to put your roll plate on. So I'll put that on, get those holes lined up, and get our bracket put on. Now I'll get these tightened and torqued down as well. Now I'll flip this back over, and in that third hole on the top, I will install our air fitting. I'm going to get this hand tight. The instructions say to do an additional 1.5 turns. So I'm going to grab a 14mm wrench. As long as you don't move that top section, that's what you can use to determine how many turns you do. That's 1. I'll just do a half. And that's a half. Now you can always tighten this down more if it leaks later. Now we can get our bags in place. Now it helps to raise your bed up so you have more room to work with. We just have a pole jack, but if you're doing this on the ground, you can just use a jack stand or regular jack. Now, I'm going to compress some of the air in here and put an air fitting in. Now we have one of these lying around the shop, but you can go ahead and cut this in half and just keep it long and use that as well. But it helps a lot to have this compressed because it fits a lot better. Now I'll get this in place. Now you want to get this top piece in place first because it has that ridge there. So I'm going to slip this in first, get it around our wires. And now the brake lines that we removed, you're going to want to pull those back so you can get this lip under them. That wire harness might be in the way. We can put our bracket that holds our brake lines back in. Now your kit does give you a bit of a longer bolt, so this makes this a little easier. I'll just line this up. Tighten it down. And they do give you a torque value in the instructions to set this at, so I'll go ahead and do that now as well. Now on either side on the bottom bracket, there's going to be a rectangular opening that we can put our carriage bolts in. And these are the 2.5-inch carriage bolts, so they're going to be the smaller ones. Put the one on the other side as well. Now I'll take our axle strap, and of course I'll put the rounded part to the axle. And secure these with the nylock nut that comes in the kit. I'll take a 14mm socket and tighten and torque these down as well. I'm going to go back and forth and make sure they're going to be tightening down evenly. And when you tighten and torque these down, you may notice that the top metal bends down. Now that is normal, that's just so it securely fits around your axle. Now we'll take our U-bolt and get this around our frame and into the holes in our top plate. Make sure you don't get any wires pinched in there. Now I'll just secure this with our nylock nut. Now I'll just leave that loose for now. We can get our round strap secured, and this is going to be around that cup that was securing our jounce bumper. So first I'm going to get our larger carriage bolts and get those through our larger bracket on the top. Take our bracket, get this through both bolts here, and secure our hardware. Now we'll tighten both of these down, and you just want to make sure that this is going to be nicely secured, so I will probably scoot it this way a little bit while I'm tightening. Just make sure it fits properly. We'll go back and forth until it's fully tight. This bracket will bend similar to our bracket on the bottom. And again, that is normal. As long as you torque it down to the specs and the instructions, you should be all set. Lastly, we'll tighten and torque our U-bolts down. And then the passenger side, like I said, is going to be the same process, but there is going to be a heat shield, and I'll show you how we install that. This is going to be our heat shield for the passenger side, and I'll take some pliers. I'm just going to bend these tabs down, and then I'll just make a small bend on the end. On either side. I'll take our strap and put it around the exhaust. I'll just orientate this bracket so it's providing protection to our bag. I got an 8mm socket, and I'll just tighten this down. Now I'll secure the bottom one as well. Now we can start running our air lines. Now we just had this bracket lying around the shop, and we decided to mount it underneath. But if you don't have this at home, you can usually do maybe one of the bolts on your license plate or any dead space in plastic on your truck. But now I'll get our air fill in. So we got a nut and a washer. On this side, I'll slide it on, get a flat washer, and tighten this down with a nut. Now this kit will come with 2 lines, so you can fill each bag individually. Now if you don't want to mess with that, we do have a T connector that you can use, so you can just fill both bags with 1 line. Now reasons why you would want 2 is maybe you have an embed camper and the weight is different, so you might want to fill the bags with different PSI. But if you don't have that, it's really nice to just fill them with 1 inlet. Now I'm going to cut our airline, and you want to use some airline tubing cutters, and they actually provide you some in the kit, which is really nice. So I'll use these, get a nice clean cut right there. Now that was a little bit jagged, so I'm just going to cut it again until it's nice and clean like that. Now I'll run these lines to our bags, and we'll show you the path we take. When running our lines, I noticed that this does come really close to our exhaust, so it's always a good idea to pick one of these heat shields up. You can just simply put that over your tube right where that exhaust is, and that'll be just an extra layer of precaution so that doesn't melt on you. For the driver's side line, I just ran it up, zip tied it to some wire harnesses, and now it's above the frame. And it's coming all the way back to our bag. I put a nice loop in it just so it's not kinked anywhere, and attached it. The passenger side goes to the bag in a similar fashion. I just zip tied it to some of the wire harnesses here, and I zip tied it to the hat channel with some holes that were in it. Now it comes all the way over to our bag, and I put that heat shield on there as well. Last thing to do is check for leaks. So I'll put air in both the bags. I'll take a soapy water solution and spray down all of our fittings. And it looks like we're good there. If any bubbles are constantly forming, then you know you have a leak. You want to make sure you get the spot where you plug the hose in, as well as the spot you tightened it down to. Now if you have a leak on either the hose end, you just want to pop that out, recut it, put it back in, and retest. Now if you have a leak on this end, you just want to tighten it up a bit. We're looking good here. Now once you determine there is no leaks, you can put your tire and your heat shield back up in place and start loading up your truck and using your airbags. Now it just about does it for the look at the Pacbrake airbags on our 2025 GMC Sierra 3500.